All right, let's talk about it. AI, robots, and the Bible. Listen, y'all, this is a topic that I think is really going to get a lot of press over these next couple of years if it's not already gotten enough publicity inside of the media. How and what does the Bible say? How should people who are religious, specifically Christians, um, uh, engage with AI and robots and whatnot? Listen, welcome to the desk of Dr. Dandridge. We're going to be thinking critically today about how faith and culture and technology really can envelop themselves within one another. And to be quite frank, we're seeing this almost on a day to day basis that, like I said, AI, technology, intelligence, scripture, preaching, teaching, all this stuff. I mean, let's just be honest, we can't run from it. We cannot run from it. So, since we can't run from it, we might as well at least try to embrace it, or at least let's think through it. Okay. So, let's talk about it. AI, robots, and the Bible. Here's the thing, the future is here, and some folks are excited, others not so much. Some people are actually terrified about all this. But my question is, are we on the brink of something divine? Or, like some people might think, are we meddling inside of an area that we really shouldn't be meddling in? Some people would say that AI and robots are all about playing God. And are we creating something that will one day rival God or be juxtaposed to God? As a matter of fact, I want to hear from you. Put that inside of the comments if you think that we're meddling inside of an area that AI is something and robots are something that we really, as humans, shouldn't be kind of delving into, because I think that's pushing too much for us trying to be like God. Let me know. Let me know what you think. And here's the thing. I know it's a big question, but I really want to think critically about this. All right. Before you make up your mind about the answer to that question, I really want us to dig into it. Because again, we're talking about AI, robots, and I've even talked before about the end times and whether all this technology is drawing us closer to God or away from God. You know, um, but again, let me know. Here's the thing. Do you believe AI is a sign of the times? Put it inside of the comments. All right. So let's start with probably the biggest concern for most Christians and most believers. Is AI part of the end times? Now we know scripture warns about end times when deception will be at an all time high. Proverbs 24:24 says, "For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect." Then there's Revelation 13:15, which says, this is a wild one. It says, it talks about the image of the beast being given breath, so that it could speak and even cause those who refuse to worship it to be killed. Doesn't AI also make images almost lifelike? I remember seeing an article not long ago where it said that there are actually AI created social media accounts that are going viral. Like people actually created some kind of AI character that can think and talk and interact and pose for photos, and they're actually getting more likes and views and subscriptions than some actual real people. But I want us to think about that. An image that speaks. Revelations told us that an image that speaks, an artificial entity that has power. It sounds a lot like what we're seeing inside of AI, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying things like Chat GPT and some of these other apps and data. I guess you could say portals or whatnot are the antichrist. I don't want to go that far. I definitely don't want to go that far. But what if we're seeing the foreshadowing of what's to come? Could AI be a setup essentially for something bigger? What do you think? Put it inside the comments. Let me know if we're just kind of on the brink of seeing what ultimately all of this is about. Y'all know me. Let's get a little controversial as well, because some people would say that with AI and robots, that humans are playing God. Here's the thing: AI, it can write, it can create, it can solve problems, it can write papers, it can write books, it can produce images. It can do all of this stuff. Some people even say that it can think. Like you can actually have a whole conversation with ChatGPT and some of these other platforms. I've even seen articles where robots are, not just being able to do physical things like flip and play chess or whatnot, but actually able to almost express emotion or give the idea of expressed emotion. We have machines that mimic human intelligence. And here's the thing, if we keep advancing this human intelligence, then what's next? A machine with a soul? I just want us to think about that. But here's another big question. Did God forbid us from creating? Or did God give us the ability to do so? This is really where the critical thinking aspect comes in, because Genesis 1:26 says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And part of that image, in my opinion, is connected to the intellect of God, and also connected to the creativity of God. When we look inside of the biblical text, we see that God has given humanity and humans the ability to reason, the ability to invent, the ability to innovate. And in fact, he actually gave inside the book of Genesis, he gave Adam the responsibility to name the animals, which is essentially the ability to classify, categorize, and even study what God had just created inside of the book of Genesis. So, are we playing God? I don't think is really the question. Or are we simply maximizing the intelligence that God has given us? Could it be all along that this AI and robot stuff is really what God wanted us to do in order for us to push our limits intellectually? Here's something that we might not have considered. What if AI also brings us closer to God? Hear me out. Hear me out. Because God is the ultimate source of wisdom or divine intelligence. I've taught this before. And we've only scratched the surface of knowledge. Science has literally proven that the human mind, the human brain has not even partially reached its fullest potential. So, what if these technological advances help us to understand the universe better, but then ultimately help us to understand God better? What if AI helps us to unlock deeper truths about scripture, deeper truths about creation, or even deeper truths about the nature and the existence of God? We already use AI to translate ancient text, to analyze biblical history, and even to study the cosmos. These things, in my opinion, honestly reveal more to us about God and the nature of God versus less about God and the nature of God. Proverbs 25:2 says, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but then also the glory of kings is to search it out. So, could AI and technology, could it be a part of how we search out the mysteries of God? What do you think? Put it inside of the comments. Is technology a tool for God's glory, or are we going too far? So, we've actually covered a lot today. AI, the end times, technology, biblical truths, bringing us closer to God, the fear of playing God, the possibility of technology drawing us um, in one direction versus the other direction. So, where do you land? Where do you land? Are we on dangerous ground, or are we stepping into a future that God ultimately designed for us and intended for us to step into? I really want to hear from you. Drop a comment, send me a message. Let's keep this conversation going, because I don't think that this will be the last conversation that we have about AI, the Bible, and robots and technology or whatnot. If you enjoyed it, if you think this is a good conversation starter, do me a favor, share it with somebody, share it with a friend, especially somebody who loves technology or has strong opinions about faith. in AI. And look, if you haven't already done so, subscribe so you can get more information like this. Hit the like button, hit the notification button. Don't miss out on the next post that I do, because I've got some powerful discussions, some powerful things that we're going to be looking at over the course of time. So listen, until next time, I want you all to stay curious. Of course, stay prayerful, but most importantly, let's keep seeking truth together. Peace and blessings.